How many voting members in the United States House of Representatives, Republican, Democrat, and Independent? How many total?
How many total
Yes.
are there? What is it? 600 some?
No, it's 435.
Here comes jaded, joyless, judgmental Jill on her mother bullshit again. She really sat here on the Breakfast Club and didn't know how many House of Representative members are, but she wants to run for president of the United States. Jill Stein has been running for public office since 2002 when she ran for governor of Massachusetts, and she lost with only 3.4% of the vote. And 8 years later, she ran again in Massachusetts again for the gubernatorial election, and she lost with 1.42% of the vote. She then ran again in 2012, but this time for the presidential election, and she lost with 0.4% of the vote. Then she ran again in 2016 for president of the United States again, and lost with 1.1% of the vote. And now what's really interesting is that she's running again in 2024, but she's running with an abandoned Harris motive. Also, when she was trying to get into the New Hampshire ballot, a longtime GOP operative was the one who helped Jill Stein get on the ballot. So one would really ask themselves, why is it that Republicans have a vested interest in helping Jill Stein get on the ballot? And why is it that she's running with an abandoned Harris campaign? Why is it that she's only attacking Kamala Harris and not Donald Trump? And she's talking about, tell Kamala, debate Jill Stein. Why is it that we know that Russia's interfering with our elections? And at the same time, Jill Stein is literally sitting at a table with Vladimir Putin, the Russian president, and Putin's spokesperson, and Putin's chief of staff, and that Jill Stein can't even win this election. Not because she's a third-party candidate, but because she literally can't numerically win. She is not even on the ballot for every single state. So there's no way that she can win. Make no mistake about it, Jill Stein is a chaos agent. She's only there to try to split the Democratic ticket. Republicans are using her as a pawn to try to drive votes away from Kamala Harris so that Kamala Harris won't win. She is a chaos mother agent who can't win this motherfucking election. And that's all I gotta say about it.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. We gotta talk about a hilarious conversation that went down on the Breakfast Club between Jill Stein, who is the Green Party candidate running for president, aka she is the Democrat Party spoiler because she's basically taking away votes from Kamala Harris, okay, from the left, okay? These people are overtly targeting the pro-Palestine people and the far left, okay? And that is hurting Kamala Harris, okay? And this person right here is Angela Rye, who is a stand for Kamala Harris because, you know, she's on team black woman, team Democrat. And during this exchange, Jill Stein is going to accuse Angela Rye of white supremacy because Angela Rye told her that, hey, you have a snowball's chance in hell of winning the presidential election. Why are you still in the race? Please drop out so that Kamala Harris can win, right? So you don't take away votes from Kamala, okay? And Jill Stein didn't like that. So as a white lady, as a liberal, well, socialist, really, I don't want to use the word liberal, okay? Socialist, damn near communist white lady, calls a black liberal woman a white supremacist. That sparked some fireworks. And it's even more hilarious to think about when you know that Angela Rye was the same person on CNN, boohoo, whining, and crying just a few years ago about people calling her a racist.
I just want to say, Congressman, like, I wish that the new members, the folks who have followed in your footsteps could at least acknowledge that. Like, that's all so many of us are saying. And at this point, I'm emotional.
And let's fix it.
Because we cannot, like, it's like being constantly gaslit. We're constantly being told, I'm told every day I'm on air that I'm racist because I call out racism. That is maddening to me, and I'm crying about it because it's crazy. And I wish that somebody who's a colleague of mine, like Alice, could at least acknowledge that fact. Like, that is so frustrating. We're supposed to be talking about a 12-year-old boy who was just trying to deliver newspapers, and the police are called on him in Ohio, where Tamir Rice was killed in the same age. I want to be acknowledged and seen that this is not okay for our children. This is not okay for the future direction of this country. So I want to say, I commend you for saying what you said. It means the world to me.
Yeah, so this is a hilarious exchange that I want to talk about because this could affect the outcome of the election, right? I mean, in 2016, you could argue that Jill Stein was the spoiler for Hillary Clinton because in some states like Michigan, she got enough votes. She took away enough votes from Hillary to flip the election in Trump's favor, okay? So we know now in 2024, with Trump back on the ballot, that these people on the left, they have zero tolerance for people like Jill Stein. So Jill Stein calling this woman, who clearly has a soft spot for being called a racist, okay? When Jill Stein called this woman a white supremacist, this was going to spark some fireworks. So without further ado, let's get into it.
The only thing that I would say to you is I think it's very dangerous rhetoric to say there are two sides of the same coin. I do think it's important for us to
dangerous
understand.
to the Democrats, yes.
I think it's dangerous to all of us, actually. I don't have the privilege.
We disagree.
I understand. We do on a lot, but we also agree on a lot. But here's one thing I think we can agree on. Either you win or lose this election. There's really no in between. Dr. Stein, in 2002, you ran for governor of Massachusetts and you lost. In 2004, you ran for state representative in Massachusetts and you lost. In 2006, you ran for secretary of the Commonwealth. You also lost. In 2010, you ran for governor again, this time against the first black governor in Massachusetts, Deval Patrick. You lost. In 2012, you ran against this country's first black president, and you got just less than 0.5% of total votes cast. In 2016, you ran against Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton, losing significantly with 1.4 million votes cast for you, but 0 electoral college votes, which I agree with y'all needs to be abolished. But 136 million people voted. And you lost that election as well. So I want to know what the pathway to victory is for you in 2024. It can't just be.
I'd like to provide
So I want you guys to notice the framing of this question before Jill Stein answers, okay? Because Angela Rye unnecessarily pointed out that Jill Stein was running against black people, right? So she would state the race of the individual that she was running against or that she lost to try to make a point that Jill Stein was targeting black people, right? That's what she's low-key trying to get at, okay? She's low-key trying to call Jill Stein a racist, right? This is what she's trying to do without actually really doing it, but heavily suggesting that race somehow is a factor in Jill Stein choosing to run for public office and lose.
There's not a
Shut your mouth. Watch your fucking mouth.
I want to provide.
And I also
Can I respond,
One second.
please?
And Kamala Harris supporter.
May I respond?
y'all bring it
May
back.
I respond?
Go ahead, Angela. Go ahead.
But I would
Stein-
like to respond.
Yeah.
This is the framing of the empire and the oligarchy and white supremacy and colonialism, which wants you to feel that resistance is futile. This is about voter blaming and voter shaming.
Let me just
Let me respond.
No.
You had plenty of time to.
What you're not going to say is that I'm ever parodying anything at the hands of white supremacy. This is something that's very different. This is me asking you again. It's a binary
well, I'm
choice
just
in an
pointing
election.
out that these
it is
are the
either a
talking
win
points.
or a lie. No, it's
These
not
are
a
the
talking
same
point.
talking points
no,
that the
I didn't get my
DNC
talking.
uses.
This is not DNC talking points. This is my research, and sadly for you, the research says you have never won an election. You have been successful in pushing forward certain agendas. As an advocate, but you have never won an election as a candidate. Is that a winning strategy?
So
Listen, here's the thing. This woman may not be parroting DNC talking points, but she is doing work on behalf of the DNC, right? Let's not get it twisted here, right? You may have done your own research to find out that Jill Stein has basically lost every election that she's ever ran in, including that she tried to run against some black people, okay? And you may be strongly insinuating that Jill Stein is a racist, okay? But you're doing so on behalf of the Democrat Party, okay? Let's not get it twisted. You are an operative. You are a propagandist. You are a mouthpiece, okay, for the DNC.
in order to win, a journey of 1,000 miles begins with one step. And in this case, it's many steps. Let me point out, please, you need to compare the Green Party, not with those who are taking money from AIPAC and the War Machine and Wall Street. You've got to compare us, you have to compare us to other grassroots, non-corporate.
She told me I'm a white supremacist.
Okay. We need you white supremacist.
She said I was parroting the talking points of a white supremacist.
See, that was my disappointment.
May I finish,
earlier.
please? May I get to my point? May I please
We're actually
get
going
to
to let
my
Dr. Stein and
point?
Angela Rye close it up.
Let me finish, please. Thank you.
Look how salty this woman is, bro. She is fuming. She is fuming over being called a white supremacist. Right? It's so funny how when you turn this stuff back around on them, they realize how ridiculous it is, right? How ridiculous is it for you to just throw around the label of white supremacist because of a disagreement in policy, right? Just because somebody disagrees with you when it comes to an argument about politics, that doesn't mean they're white supremacists. But see, people like Angela Rye, who has made a career out of boohoo-whining and crying racism and bigotry, she doesn't realize how ridiculous that it is until it's turned back around on her, right? All of a sudden, when somebody calls her a white supremacist or say that she's parroting white supremacist talking points, all of a sudden now she realizes how ridiculous it sounds to accuse somebody of parroting white supremacist talking points or being a white supremacist over a political disagreement, right? It's funny how that works. They don't realize how dumb that sounds until it's turned back around on them. And now she's losing her mind, okay? Losing her mind.
You're trying to compare us to the Democratic Party and the Republican Party with their billions of dollars, or to the Working Families Party, which is not under attack. As a people-powered party, not taking money from Wall Street or the war machine or AIPAC, we are on very different turf. But if you compare us to all other similar parties, which are not taking corporate money, which are not bought and paid for, which can stand up against endless war, against homelessness, against the climate crisis, against the housing and the healthcare crisis. Campaigns like us, who can actually stand up for the people, they last exactly 1 to 2 election cycles, and then they're gone. So we are actually the pillar of strength among people-powered politics. And what have we done over that period? We have established the Green Party as the vehicle for people-powered politics. We have also launched the agenda, which has been adopted by the progressive Democrats, given lip service, not actually advanced. But whether you're looking at healthcare as a human right, launched by Ralph Nader as a national issue, reparations, launched by our campaign as a national issue in 2012. If you look at free public higher education, bailing out students and ending student debt. You had Congress bailing out the crooks on Wall Street who crashed the economy, but not bailing out homeowners, not bailing out students. That agenda was launched by us. So I think it's...
Now, she is right about that, in the sense that the Green Party today is just the Democrat Party of tomorrow, okay? These people are far left, socialists, okay? And the Democrat Party damn near is already there, okay? They're pretty damn close. Okay, but they're further left than the Democrats. And the problem here, okay, the reason why Angela Rye is fuming, again, this is supposed to be the party of democracy, right? They're fuming over democracy right now, right? She's mad because what Jill Stein is describing, whether you agree with her or not in regards to the success of the Green Party, what she's describing is how democracy is supposed to work, right? People that come together and say, hey, we don't agree with this party. We don't agree with that party. We don't like either party. We're going to form our own party, and we're going to try to gain some traction, right? And we're going to compete every election as if we are a legitimate party, because they feel like they are a legitimate party. So it would make sense for them to try to get on the ballot every year to be competitive, to get votes regardless of who's running, okay? Regardless of Trump, Kamala, Biden, whoever. So this idea that, oh, Jill Stein has lost every time she runs for president, therefore you shouldn't run. That is irrelevant to the fact that she is running as her party's candidate, right? And it is what it is. As long as she keep winning her party's primary, okay, and she can get on the ballot, she has every right to try to become president of the United States. It doesn't matter if she doesn't have a realistic chance. She has every right to do so as an effort to grow her party. Because otherwise, if they're not trying to get on the ballot every year, then they're not a legitimate party. And if they decide that, hey, well, we're not going to get on the ballot this year because we got to stop Trump, okay, and we got to help out the Democrats, then what does that say about the legitimacy of their party? Then it's not legitimate. That you're basically just an arm of the Democrat Party. You're not independent from the Democrats. You'll help the Democrats win if you hate the other guy enough, right? That's not what legitimate parties do, right? That's not what they do, okay? Not in our system. So she has every right to do what she's doing. I just find it hilarious that another one of these Democrat propagandists who will probably preach about the importance of protecting our democracy doesn't really seem to value democracy when it doesn't benefit the Democrat Party, okay? Because not only is the Democrat Party funding the efforts to keep Jill Stein off the ballot, which is voter suppression, right? They'll talk about, oh, you got to vote for Democrats to stop voter suppression. Meanwhile, Democrats are not only suppressing votes by trying to keep people off ballots, but they've suppressed all the votes in their own party, right? In the primary, right? They threw all of Joe Biden's millions of votes out the window. and they nominated Kamala without a single vote. Without a single vote. But these are the people that'll say, hey, Republicans, they're trying to rig your elections, they're suppressing the vote, and they're a threat to democracy. Meanwhile, Democrats are all those things. They're trying to do all those things right in front of your face, okay? Democrats are the party of projection, right? They project everything they do onto Republicans, and it's just very infuriating because anybody can see it, right? Everybody can see how hypocritical the Democrat Party is, especially on this subject of democracy.
Not fair, and it is the talking point of AOC the other day, who is taking her marching orders from the DNC. This is exactly what they say, that we are only running for president.
Of color as parroting talking points instead of us looking at basic math. The one thing that AOC has done that you haven't is win some elections. And so when I'm asking you if you've won any elections, that is one point. If you want to tell me that you want to push a more progressive agenda, if you want to talk about
1,500
pushing a progressive agenda, you can do that, not by running necessarily for president. Your track record as a state rep candidate, as a secretary of the Commonwealth candidate, as a gubernatorial candidate, as a presidential candidate are woefully lacking.
So I'm asking
if you consider going about it a different way instead of telling me I'm parroting white supremacist talking points.
So I can tell you,
you'd hear the facts.
I
These
can
are
tell
the facts.
you,
the numbers are not on your side, right?
So Dr. Jill Stein, let's end with some closing remarks.
Yes.
On your campaign, and then the Honorable Angela Rye, you can end with your closing remarks.
I've asked my question.
Okay, so as Frederick Douglass said, power concedes nothing without a demand. It never has and it never will.
Yeah, so we're going to stop it here because Jill Stein is going to get into a long-winded answer that I honestly don't want to watch, right? If you guys want to check it out, you can go to the original video. But you see how at the end there, Angela Rye basically low-key, again, tried to insinuate that Jill Stein was racist by talking about how she's attacking women of color, right? Again, it's so funny how when they get that card flipped on them, they get so triggered, right? They get upset, but they love playing it on everybody else, though. They love trying to insinuate or imply or just directly say a lot of times that, hey, this person, that person is racist over political disagreements. But when it gets turned back around, she almost lost it. She couldn't take it, okay? Couldn't take it. What's up with these liberal black women, man? Why they so frail, right? Why they so soft, okay? They supposed to be so strong, but yet it's so easy to upset them, right? It's so easy to trigger them, okay? It really makes you wonder. It really makes you think, okay? Are these individuals as strong as they say they are? Or are they just, putting on an act, right? Because ultimately, in the day, these people are not leaders. They're just pawns, okay? Just like Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris is not leading anything. She's not making any decisions. She's just another mindless puppet who is there simply to get the votes of low information, very emotional, probably borderline stupid people who vote based off things like skin color and gender. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.